Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. Time for the match preview for Crystal Palace against Arsenal, and also at the end, my match day 2 predictions for all the Premier League games this weekend. We'll also be taking a look at reviewing last week's performance and also last week's predictions. But first up, let's focus on our game, Crystal Palace against Arsenal. This was the first away game for us last season. It was the very first game of the campaign, and this one is still the first away game as well. So back-to-back seasons where we are playing Crystal Palace away as our first away game. And last season we went there, we had a very magnificent performance, scored 2 goals, kept a clean sheet. Saliba had a man of the match performance, and from that day, basically all the way until like April, like we were just very confident, winning game after game after game. And our away from last season stayed the same. We actually did very well away from home last season. Hopefully, it is the same this time round. Both teams won last week. Arsenal won their game 2-1. Crystal Palace won their game away at Sheffield United 1-0. For us, I've rewatched that game like 3 times, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes. And first half, we played quite well. Yes, we didn't like pump the pressure their goal, it's shot after shot after shot, but you were dominating position. You were very comfortable. You got 2 goals, 2 brilliant goals from Ketty and Saka as well. Martelli was great. I've rewatched that game again, and Havertz played well. Like, I'm not taking any opinion about Havertz not playing well in that game. 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10 performance. No, I've rewatched that game time and time again throughout this week, and Havertz played well. Rice was great as well. Could have had a hat trick in that game. He had a couple of shots as well. Partey started as a right back, but basically came into midfield most of the time. And yes, we considered the goal after we became basically a bit comfortable, and we thought we were going to win the game 2-0 or 3-0, and then obviously they caught us on the counter-attack and scored. Hopefully, this time around, this week, nothing like that. We played a midweek friendly match against Luton. We beat them 3-0. The likes of Trossard, Saka, Nelson, Raya all played. So hopefully that has gotten them up to speed, and that has gotten the message through. Don't get comfortable. Let's do it like last season. Score 2, score 3, score 4 goals, like we did last campaign against the likes of Wolves, Nottingham, Aston Villa, Brighton. Score 3 or 4. Don't score 1 or 2 goals and relax. So, and obviously for time himself, we need some subs early on. If the game is not going our way, a sub early on would benefit us. So, Crystal Palace against Arsenal. We definitely don't usually enjoy this game that much. There's been a couple of draws recently, and last year, not last season, but last year 21-22 season, it was still last year. So when I say last year, we include 2 seasons. It was 21-22 because it was still 2022 and 22-23. That's so confusing. You get what I mean. Last year, the previous season before last, we went to Crystal Palace and they thumped us by 3-0, and that cost us top 4 that campaign when you're battling out with Tottenham. So, and that was Patrick Vieira, and they also drew us 2-2 at our place. But last season, we came back to the Arsenal that we knew. We beat them 2-0 at their place, and at our place, we beat them by 4-1. So that thought of Crystal Palace being a tough away game. Last season, we did very well away at home, like away from home. We went to Brentford, scored 3 goals, comfortable. We went to Bournemouth, scored 3 goals, comfortable. Went to Chelsea, clean sheet. Went to Tottenham, clean sheet. Went to Brighton, 1. Went to Aston Villa, 1. So we did very well away from home. And one of those games was Crystal Palace away as well. We went there, had a comfortable 2-0 victory. One of the key things in that game is that we scored early. Zinchenko's headed to Martinelli, and we scored early in that game. Yet again, it's another night game. That time it was Friday night. I remember playing them on another Monday night where they beat us 3-0 as well. This time it's another Monday night, and usually their fans are turned up for this kind of games. Teams like Arsenal and Chelsea going there. Night game, Crystal Palace are usually very tough. Even last time they played Man City at their place at Selhurst Park, and Man City only beat them by 1-0. So they're very capable of giving people a tough away game. The likes of Zaha have left the club. I'm not sure if Olise is 100% fit to play this game, but they still have some good players that usually love turning up against Arsenal, like an Ayew. Ayew doesn't turn up against any other team, but when it's Arsenal, it turns up. And the likes of Ez obviously are very good players. But as long as we can start the game very well, quick start. Against Crystal Palace last week, the first 25 minutes was a bit quiet. We didn't score goals, and we didn't really test the goalkeeper. This time around, from the kickoff, we need to attack them straight away from the kickoff. Attack. Let's try and get a goal even in the first 10 minutes, open up the game, let them try to attack, and we can counter-attack them and get a couple of more and hopefully get a win. Last week, they kept a clean sheet, so they're pretty good defensively as well. We didn't keep a clean sheet, so it is always a tough game to play against Crystal Palace. But the kind of schedule that we had at the beginning of the campaign, That's exactly what you needed. Nottingham at home, Crystal Palace away. Then next up, we'll have Fulham at home. Like the games are arranged so well. Like we also have Everton, we also have Tottenham and Man United at home. So we have to keep up the pace with Man City because Man City have a tough game against Newcastle this week. No guarantee they're going to win. I'll give you my predictions at the end. But after that, they have some really easy games, I'd say, for Man City, games that they should win. So there's a very, very huge chance that by the time we get at the end of September, sorry, Man City could be like on 18 or 21 points. So you have to keep up the pace. You don't want to drop 3 points or 6 points behind Man City. And this is the kind of game you have to there's still some people who are like, teams like Arsenal don't usually go to Crystal Palace and win. Yes, they did last season, but that was last season. Will they really do it this season? There's still some people with some doubt about Arsenal going to places like this and winning. Let's go there. Let's leave a marker, win the game 3-0, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh, wow, this is actually the same Arsenal from last season. Whether they're playing Brentford away, whether they're playing Crystal Palace away, whether they're playing Fulham at home, it's a game that you expect them to win. That is the mentality you want to have. Last season, we had an incredible mentality, and this one as well. In terms of me as a fan, like I'm very confident. So my mentality is good in terms of Arsenal. I expect us to win this game. And as long as we don't, after going 1-0 up or 2-0 up, we settle down, no. Because last week it was at home against Nottingham Forest. Sometime if they get back to 2-1, you can still manage the game and still win because you have the fans on your side. But at a place like Crystal Palace, if like you're leading 2-0 and then you let them come back to the game in the 60th minute 2-1, and then you give them 30 minutes, they are going to put in crosses, all that. They're going to keep on attacking, win all the 50-50 battles. So you don't want that. Kill the not literally kill the fans, kill the energy of the fans, kill the players' motivation for the game within the first 20 minutes. You're 2-0 up, and you're the ones dominating the game. Let the fans boo them, all that. So you have to go there and dominate the game. Because Crystal Palace is not an easy team. And on top of that, they got Roy Hodgson, and last season they kept them up. They played really well with Roy Hodgson at the end of last season, and they started this season with a win against Sheffield United, the clean sheet. So a team that you cannot underestimate. But when you win a game like this, all of a sudden you go into that Fulham game, you go into that Tottenham game, into that Man United game, very, very confident. I think it's Man United after, I think it's Fulham and then Man United. You go into those games very confident. So let's pick up a win in this one. Which kind of starting lineup would I go for in this match? So here's my starting lineup. Let's start with the goalkeeper. These days we have two good goalkeepers. So who will start? Oh, my goalkeeper for this one is Aaron Ramsdale. That is the player I will go for. Still think he's a very good goalkeeper. Ray will probably come in like during the season, maybe in the cup competitions or something, but we'll have to wait and see. But Ramsdale last week as well, yes, he considered, but really not his mistake. He made a couple of very good saves as well. The time he came out as well and kind of confused or put Brennan Johnson out of his track, and that helped us. Brennan Johnson shot that off target, and that kind of helped us. Nottingham Forest should have gone 1-0 ahead. So Ramsdale stays in goal for me. No mistakes in this one, obviously. You don't want to give Crystal Palace the lead in this kind of game. And they'll definitely be amped for that. Their first home game of the season. Defensively, what did I go for? Now, we don't have too many choices. Tierney, I don't think will be in the matchday squad. I'd love it if he is, but I don't think we are kind of actively looking for to sell him. Obviously, we picked up that injury for Timber last week, but that's very annoying, very painful. He was playing very well for us. Tomias is available. Holding is still at the club. Gabriel is there. I didn't start last week, surprisingly. Ben White is there. We have Saliba as well. But who will start? So will we go with Thomas Partey as well at right back? Remember, this is my squad. This is not the one I think I will do. This is what I would do if I was the manager. So defensively, this is what I have gone for. I've gone with Ben White at right back. I've gone just a solid back four. Not too many fancy stuff at the back now. In a game like this, let's go there. Let's use the same formation we are using as strictly last season. Let's get that win. Yes, you can have Ben White or Kivia inverting whatever you want it, but I just want a solid back for the back four that is the players that are used to being defenders. So Ben White, Saliba and Gabriel at centre back. Bring back Gabriel in a game like this for sure. And then Kivia at left back. Now we don't have too many choices. Zinchenko is back, but now that is always my fear. He's back, yes, but is he 100% back? That is my fear. I don't want him to start and then all of a sudden he gets injured again. So you have to kind of bring him back slowly. I would give him at least like 20 minutes in a game like this. But then again, Crystal Palace, like at home, they're going to be up for it. They're going to be making those tackles, those challenges. So I think Kivia can also do the job. Kivia does actually play well inverted as well. We saw in preseason, he's very comfortable in the ball. So it's not like throwing a Mustafi at left back or throwing Kolo Toure at left back or something like that. No, Kiva is a player, left-footed player who can do the job. He can pass the ball. He's very good in terms of the 1-2s and getting into midfield as well. So I don't think this, if we go with this kind of formation, it would be like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? No. If Zinchenko is 100% fit, maybe I would start him. I wouldn't mind that, but let's see. So Kivio, Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White as my back four. In midfield, again, I have a couple of options. You could start with Partey, you could start with Rice, you could start with both of them. Havertz is available, Trossard is there, Odegaard is there. What should I go for? This is what I would go for. I'd stick with Partey and Rice in midfield. These are the kind of games I want them to play together. Crystal Palace away, Liverpool away, Crystal Palace because of like their energy and their midfield, and they're going to just battle it out. So you need players like Partey and Rice there, and teams like Liverpool and Man City because they're tough, and also you need to kind of respect the opponent. Partey and Rice in this one in midfield. Rice played very well last week going forward. He could easily have scored a hat-trick. The goalkeeper made a few good saves. And then Odegaard as well in midfield. And I think he's going to open his account for goal scoring this season. Partey last week was incredible playing as a right back coming into midfield. But that would be my midfield three. Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. Now, as I said, in games like at home against Nottingham Forest, personally, I'd start either Rice or Partey, leave one of them on the bench. That is what kind of Arteta did last week in terms of the forward line. He started with 5 forward players, but he went with something different. He chose Partey to put Partey at right back. But for me, I would choose to just go with the natural right back, and then he choose between Partey and Rice in midfield. Probably it's going to be Rice because you also don't want Partey to play every single week. That's why we've also brought Rice so that Partey can rest here, play tomorrow, rest next week, so he doesn't pick up any injuries, and we have him fresh for the second part of the campaign as well, and also the Champions League games and all that. So Rice, Partey, and Odegaard is my midfield. But what about the forward line? That is where it gets even more interesting. What should I do with the forward line? No surprises the wingers, but the forward line, that is what I'd go for. So Saka tried to wing last week. First half, he was incredible. What a fantastic goal. On the left side, Martinelli, that's assist for Nketiah, incredible. And also Nketiah last week, that goal, very good finish, composure in the box, didn't really rush it or try to shoot it quickly or pass it. No, he wanted to score. He composed himself in the box, went past a couple of players and shot it on target. So that would be my front line. Obviously, there's a lot of ways you could go for. Now, I didn't drop Havertz. The same thing I've said with Partey and Rice. I did not drop Havertz. Let me talk about Havertz first. Havertz, for me, if I was the manager, I've brought him in. I'm bringing in for the games that we expected to dominate possession. Yes, we might dominate. We definitely will dominate possession in this game. But a team like Crystal Palace, as you know, they're going to be very energized and they're going to be making those tackles in midfield and all that. So you also have to protect yourself defensively and stuff. In terms of midfield, just have 2 powerful midfielders there and respect the opponent as well. For Havertz, the games like, Fulham at home, Nottingham Forest away, I don't want to disrespect those teams, but Luton at home, maybe even if it's a home game against Chelsea and Tottenham, no problem. You can start with Havertz as a number 8 and just go attacking all that. But in a game like Crystal Palace, I want to have 2 solid midfielders in Rice and Partey, and Odegaard obviously is undroppable. And also, it's not undroppable. If you play poorly, going to be dropped. But as of now, is not droppable at all. And then at the back, I just want a solid back 4. Obviously, there's a way Havertz could start in this team. You could have Partey at right back as well and just have Havertz in midfield. Just keep the same team as last week. You could also start Havertz up front instead of Nketiah. But I want to see Nketiah because he scored. Let him play again. He scored. So that is why he's in the team, to score goals. But then again, with all that said, the position we are right now, I really don't mind. Whether Trossard starts, whether Havertz starts, whether Nketiah starts, like, for me, I really don't care. Like, I think all of them can do the job in the team. So that would be my starting lineup. On the bench, obviously, we will have Raya making his first appearance in the Arsenal squad. Zinchenko is back, thankfully. Tomiyasu is there as well. Tomiyasu could end up starting instead of Kivio. Jorginho, Havertz, Fabio Vieira, Smith Rowe, Trossard, and Nelson. A lot of people will say, why not start Trossard? Again, just like Havertz, there's games that Trossard will start, no problem. Like next week against Fulham, I would start both Havertz and Trossard because I know they can totally like get a few goals and assists in such kind of a game and they'll get more chances and all that. Again, no problem if Trossard starts against Crystal Palace, but their defense is kind of different. Gay and Anderson, big, powerful people. I prefer Nketiah. Then I think if he starts, he's going to score. Like, it's not like he's that calamity of a striker like Sanogo. No, if he starts, he gets a chance, 1 or 2 chances, he's going to score. Sometimes he scores in his with his first chance. Sometimes he scores with his second chance. Let's wait and see. But that would be my starting lineup. Attack would go different. Attack would stick with Tomiyasu at left back instead of Kivio. He could also just keep the same team as last week instead of Timber, just bring in Tomiyasu and start with him. He could just keep Partey at right back. I think he'll start Nketiah unless he decides to start Trossard or Havertz, who knows. But then again, you also notice Nelson on the bench. He's back as well, so I've put him on my bench. It would be nice if Tierney ends up staying. He could be on the bench, but I doubt he will be on the bench for next week. So my prediction, I will be giving it at the end with the rest of the predictions. But that is the match preview for Crystal Palace Arsenal. Not an easy game, but last time we showed that the Arsenal that we have these days is different. 5 years back, when we went to Crystal Palace, the likes of Bellerin and Mustafi and Socrates and Lacazette and those guys, Ozil, you are never sure. If Lacazette, Aubameyang, Ozil didn't turn up, you never know. You could end up losing 3-0 like we did back in 2017. But these days, I know Martinelli is there. I know Saka is there. If things don't work out, Trossard is there. They starts or comes off the bench. I know Rice is there. No Partey is there. So our team is looking good. We still kind of need more. But that is for after this game. Our game is on Monday night. There's other games this weekend, and let's get to the predictions. So these are my predictions from last week. So it's the results and the expectation. I'll read it for you, so I'll show you the app and stuff. So as you can see, I went with I was close to the Man City Burnley one. I think I went for 3-1. The result was 3-0, but 96% expected that. I went for Arsenal to win by 4 goals to 0. It was 2-1, so I got 1 point for that result. Bournemouth West Ham, I think I went for Bournemouth to win, so I got that one wrong. Brighton Fulham, I think I went for Brighton Luton. Sorry, I think I went for 3-1. It was 4-1, so I got the result. Fulham Everton, I think I went for a draw. Fulham won. Crystal Palace against Sheffield, I went for Crystal Palace to win 1-0. I got 3 points for that one. Newcastle Aston Villa, I did not expect it to be 5-1. I think I went for something like a 2-2 draw, 3-3 draw. So I got 0 points for that one. I got it spot on with Brentford Tottenham. I went for a 2-2 draw, so got that 3 points for that. Chelsea, Liverpool, I think I went for a Liverpool win, 2-1, but it was a draw. Chelsea actually played well. Could have gone either way. Chelsea scored disallowed. Liverpool scored disallowed. Could have been 2-1 either way. Man United, Wolves, I think I went for 2-1 to Man United. They should really have drawn that game. Should really have been 1-1. Wolves should have gotten something from that game. They didn't. But let's wait and see what happens this week. So what are my predictions for this week? Let's get with the first game, just a couple of hours before after you record this. Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United. So this Crystal, why do I keep on saying Crystal Palace? Crystal Palace is playing against Arsenal. Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United. So my prediction for this one, I have gone for Nottingham Forest to beat Sheffield United by 2-1. I think home game, Nottingham Forest did well last week against us. Sheffield United, I think they'll struggle this week, unfortunately, this season. Craven Cottage, Fulham against Brentford. I've gone for Brentford to win 3-2. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a draw. I think both teams are pretty good. Unless Mitrovic leaves, Fulham will need to replace him. I don't know if Jimenez is going to do the job, but I've gone for Brentford to beat Fulham 3-2. Next up, let me put this scoring down the bottom. Next up will be Anfield. Liverpool against Bournemouth. I've gone for Liverpool to beat Bournemouth by 3-1. I think Liverpool will concede, but I think they'll get the win. Next up is Wolves against Brighton. Both teams really impressed me last week. Wolves against Man United, Brighton against Luton. I think both teams will get on the score sheet here, but Brighton are just different, man. Like, they can bring in Cecil from the bench. They could bring Evan Ferguson from the bench. Mitoma could start. He could come off the bench. March is there as well. I've gone for Brighton to win this game by 2-1. Next up is the big one, Tottenham against Man United. I've gone for a 1-1 draw here. It will be back-to-back Tottenham draws in the Premier League, and Man United will have 4 points. Not bad. Having Wolves and Tottenham in the first 2 games, I think 4 points would not be bad. So 1-1 draw in that one. Next up, another big one. Last game on Saturday, Man City against Newcastle. I think Newcastle will get a couple of goals. I think the likes of Diaz are out. Stones is out as well. Bernardo Silva is out, De Bruyne is out. So a few injuries here and there for Man City. So I have gone for them to win, but they will concede a couple of goals. They still have Haaland, they still have Foden, Alvarez, so they'll still score goals. 3-2 to Newcastle. Newcastle last week scored a bunch of goals against Aston Villa, so I think they're going to score a couple of more. Speaking of Aston Villa, I've gone for them to win 3-1. I was going for a 3-0, but the way they were playing a high line against Newcastle last week, like even guaranteed Everton will get a goal. If it was a different Aston Villa approach and they just defend well and attack well, they'll win that 3-0. I think they're very good. Diaby, Watkins, and all those guys. And Everton don't really have anyone to score goals. But the way Aston Villa are playing that high line last week, I think Everton could get something. So 3-1 to Aston Villa. West Ham, Chelsea have gone for a 1-1 draw. Could be a Chelsea 2-1 win, but usually this game, West Ham gives Chelsea a hard time, I think, the last 2-3 seasons. So I've gone for a 1-1 draw. In that one, and as you can see, both teams drew last week as well, 1-1. Both teams actually drew last week, yes, 1-1, 1-1. I'm going to go for another 1-1 draw for both of them. And then finally, on Monday, these days I'm very confident, Crystal Palace against Arsenal. I wanted to go for a 2-1 because it could be close in this one. I do respect Crystal Palace. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. But if we start the way we started last week and just get our goal early, I think you're going to run away 2-0 in the first half, and then I can see them getting back to the game and then maybe killing off the game later on. So 3-1 to Arsenal. Let me know your predictions in the comments section. Let me know your expectations for Crystal Palace against Arsenal. Two very big games this week. We have Man City against Newcastle, Tottenham against Man United. We have London derbies, Crystal Palace, Arsenal. We have Chelsea against going to West Ham as well. We have Fulham against Brentford. So 3 London derbies this week, and then Liverpool beat Bournemouth 9-0 last, and there's another good game between Wolves and Brighton. Another weekend of football. We're actually getting close to the Champions League. I cannot wait. So those are my predictions. That is my match preview for Arsenal against Crystal Palace. Let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.